2 days ago, I had a conversation with an entrepreneur who was asking me how long is it going to take for them to be able to hit 4K a month. And it was really interesting to me because immediately as I said it, I realized that they had a poor mindset. They had a poor mindset about how business actually works and how long it takes to make money. And today in this video, I'm going to break down 3 things, right? I'm going to break down why this mindset is poor. I'm going to break down what the correct mindset should be when it comes to actually growing and scaling the business. And then also what inputs you should consider when it comes to thinking about growing your business. So these are the 3 things I'm going to go through. So the first side of it was, why is this such a poor mindset, right? Someone gets into business, they're thinking like, I'm working this job, I've got these things going on. Like, how long is it going to take for me to actually grow a business and make some good money? And it makes sense, right? Because everyone's like chasing that little bit of security of like, oh, well, okay, I can just commit to this for just this amount of time. And if I just commit to this amount of time, then that's fine because I know I'll be successful with that. I'll know whether or not I'm going to be successful within that amount of time. The truth is, like, I can't say that that's going to work. I can't tell you that that's a successful mindset to have. That's not the mindset that I have. It's not the mindset that any of my business coaches have had. It's a mindset that I can see a few flaws in. For context, when I got into business, my mindset was, I'm going to make this work. No matter what. I'm in here for the long haul. If I need to, go get a part-time job, if I need to get a full-time job to fund this business and do all these other things, I'm down to do that. I'm ready to do that. I was committed. Most entrepreneurs, when they ask the question, how long is it going to take for my business to go from this point to this point? You're not committed to the process. You're not committed to the outcome. I was committed. So the first thing that I'm going to ask you is like, how committed actually are you? Are you really committed to the outcome? Because you might be, but you're just asking the wrong questions because you don't know what frame of mind to put this in. So the first thing is like, okay, how committed are you? If you're really committed, it shouldn't matter how long it's going to take you. I was watching an Inky Johnson video yesterday and he was talking about how commitment is staying true to something long after the mood that you set it in has left. What that means is that when I said I'm going to start my own business, when I said that I'm going to be a full-time business owner, when I said I'm going to grow and scale my business, I might have felt good in the moment. It might have felt nice to say this stuff, but I was committed. It doesn't make a difference how I felt. I've showed up every single day for my business. So immediately I'm like, okay, are you committed when you're asking a question like that? If the answer is still yes, and it's like, yeah, I'm really committed, and you just kind of like got a poor frame of mind, the next kind of point that you need to consider is that when it comes to setting goals like this and saying like, okay, I'm going to be in here for like 6 months, or, I'm committed for the long term, but from an inputs point of view, the main thing that I'm thinking is like, I'm going to commit to this time period. That's how a lot of people think about it when they get into business. I'm an engineer, right? And we've got this thing called scope creep. And scope creep is when you have a project and you say it's going to take 6 months, but then it actually ends up taking 8 months. Gets to 8 months, you realize it's not completely finished. So it's like 9 months. And it's like by the time everything's signed off and done properly, it's like 9.5 months. And it's like, that's what we call scope creep. It's like the project deadline keeps on extending. That's just because there's so much work to do. That's because it's very complicated. And that's because as you get into work, you then start to uncover problems that you didn't even realize were problems when you started. Now, when I got into business, I realized that I had a problem with sales. I struggled to sell to people because morally I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. When I'm telling you like, look, it's going to take 3 months, and then they come out and they confess to me that they've got this deep insecurity about selling because their parents never told them like the value of money and how it actually works and things like that. That adds a little bit of span in the works, and I've got to spend maybe a week or a couple sessions like breaking down for you exactly how you need to reframe selling so you don't have this negative mindset around it. We don't know that at the start. It's impossible to say this at the start because you haven't been in the situation where this problem is going to be revealed. Immediately I'm like, okay, well, I can't tell you exactly how long something's going to take. It's just going to vary. You don't know. You just don't know. We're just starting out. We're just trying to figure out what's going on. Once you know exactly what you need to do, once you've got the right tools and equipment and all this kind of stuff, that's when you actually have a better understanding of how long something's going to take. But everyone wants a quick answer. Everyone wants to know immediately before they commit to something, how long is this going to take? So what I want to kind of ground you in is that there is no specific timeline. It's a poor mindset to have. And if you set goals like this as well, you'll also introduce Parkinson's law. And you'll start to tell yourself like, oh, well, G said it's going to take 6 months for me to get my business to a point where we can start hitting 10K a month, for example. If I say that, you're going to just be like, oh, well, maybe I just need to stay along for the ride. Or maybe you're not going to do anything for 4.5 months. And then the last 6 weeks, you're going to be like, okay, I really need to like go head into this and I really need to focus in. And then all the work is going to be done in the last 6 weeks. If I just told you that it's going to be 6 weeks and you just focused on work like that today, would it be shorter? It's a really slippery slope to go down. And a lot of entrepreneurs, when they set their goals out and they set these timelines in place, they're actually writing their own death sentence because they don't realize how much of a problem this is going to cause them. Taking on this mindset of, oh, it's actually going to take this long to get to this stage. It's like, no, it's got nothing to do with how long it takes you. And this is where I want to start on point 2, where I introduce a better mindset. And that better mindset, the mindset that I recommend you take on, has got nothing to do with how long something takes. It's got to do with the inputs that are required. Let me break this down for you. I'm a business owner. I spend money on ads. Let's say, imagine I'm spending £100 on ads. If I'm spending £100 on ads, and over the next 12 months, I spend £100 every single month, over that 1 year, £1,200 on ad spend. Now, if I know those ads are performing and they're bringing in, let's say, 5 leads a month, and I'm grown because of this, I can say over the next 12 months, I can predict that we're going to get 60 leads. I'm going to get 60 leads over the next 12 months by spending £120. Sorry, £1,200. Just spend the £1,200 over 12 months. Instead of spending it over 12 months, why not just spend it over 1 month and get 60 leads this month? Would my business grow faster? For sure. Would I have to make sure I've got the right capacity and the right kind of systems and processes in place to deal with this? Yeah, obviously. But could I grow a lot faster than 12 months? Of course you can. That's what big businesses do. Some businesses spend like £100,000 a month on ads. Now we've got to sit and think, okay, well, when it comes to us as business owners, like we're sitting there spending like £100, £200, £500, £1,000, and we think like this is a lot. We're spending a lot of money here. But it's like, no, what you're actually doing is you're doing an input which leads to an output. If your stuff is good enough, you will grow. What entrepreneurs need to kind of reframe, instead of thinking like, oh, it's going to take us 12 months to spend £1,200. It's like, well, no, the question that you want to ask yourself is, how quickly can I do my inputs? How quickly can I spend this ad spend? How quickly, if you're doing outreach, how quickly can I get all these outreach messages out? How quickly can I post all these great pieces of content? It's not about like, oh, we're gonna spread things out as much as we can to like manage the scale and stuff like that. You can do that if you want to grow slowly, but if you want to grow quickly, the thing that I recommend you do is try and increase your inputs and get as many inputs, as many shots on goal as you possibly can to actually be able to scale. These are the things that I recommend. Like, that's the second thing. That's the right mindset to have. So if you're sitting there thinking like, okay, well, what are the right inputs that I should be focused on? There's a few different things to consider, right? For us, the way that we look at our business, and this is stage 3 now, like what I recommend first to start with is you do a really clear flow chart. What are the different sources of traffic that we've got in? What does the conversion process look like once someone comes into the business? And then what does the delivery look like off the back of that? And then any kind of operation related things at the bottom as well. So this is what our business looks like in a snapshot. For you, your business is going to be slightly different. Your lead magnets are going to be different. Your conversion process is going to be different. Your delivery process is going to be different. All these things are going to be slightly different. So what I'd recommend is that you actually get them mapped out on a really, really, really clear flow chart so that you can start to understand what numbers we can see each stage. Here's an overview of what we look at. We look at number of leads generated and qualified leads. If we know these numbers, that's very helpful for us to know, are we doing good? I know how many leads that we have. These are really important numbers that you guys need to know like the back of your hands, because that's going to influence the decisions that you make. You need to know, okay, like how many sales calls did I book, right? So this is going from marketing to conversion. So marketing and then sales, right? Now sales for us is how many sales calls did I book? What was the show up rate? What was the offer rate? So how many times on the call did I actually say to them like, hey, this is what we're offering. Would you be interested in buying? And then the last thing is the close rate. So like even these numbers, like I know our show up rate is like 93%. I know our close rate is 40%. These numbers are really important for you to know, because I know we don't have a sales problem. All right, our sales are good. We have a problem within the area of qualified leads getting into the business. And then on these last inputs, on the delivery side of it, our inputs, we need to know the lifetime gross profit of each client. We need to know how long they're staying for. We need to know how quickly they pay their CAC back. So the cost to acquire customers. So if I spend £300 on ad spend and they sign up with us and they spend £300 for whatever service, right? Immediately I'm like, okay, I've got my cash back from the first call. These are just some important metrics for you to be able to track. Again, it helps you to understand like what's the payback time of the customer? How long can I expect them to pay me for? What's the actual profit that I'm getting from each of these customers? And then from there you can start to understand, can we afford to spend more on the marketing side of things? Is the sales process adequate enough for us to like add more and more flow into the system? This might just sound like waffle to you if you're fairly new, but these are such important numbers if you actually want to understand how to grow and scale a business. Like if you don't understand these numbers, you're going to make lots of uninformed decisions. So please, if you need to like sit down, I've got a video of this that breaks it down in more detail. I really recommend that you get a better grasp of exactly what your numbers are. When you're thinking about growing and scaling your business, you want to think about how quickly can I scale these things? For example, on the marketing front, it's like, okay, last month we got 18 leads. How can we get triple these leads this month? We add more ad spend in, we do more content, we do more outreach. You do those things and you get more leads in. And it's like, great, that's what it took. It didn't take 7 months, right? Because that's what someone told you on the internet. It takes you the amount of times that you do the input. It's got nothing to do with the actual time that's passing. that's it for this video. Like, just a really important mindset concept to understand, and I hope it's really clear to you guys. If you've got any questions for this, definitely let me know. I'll link the other video in the description. Hopefully you can take this and really apply this to your business. But that's it from me. Stay tuned for the next IWIN episode, and I will catch you guys later.